Hello everyone, how you doing? Welcome back. I hope you're all doing really well today. I'm Lindsay, your host of the Heavy Metal Journal and writer for Lambgoat and the Moshville Times. And today I am back with New Metal Monday, where I talk about my favourite new releases of the week. And I have 6 brand new albums that I want to talk about this week. 3 of them I have written full reviews for, which will be linked in the description box below. But even though there has been some really big releases this week, there's some hidden gems that shouldn't be forgotten about as well. So I'm just going to jump straight into these. Okay, so first up on my list we have the return of The Haunted with Songs of Last Resort. And this is the 10th studio album from the Swedish melodic death thrash groove metal band. Now, I wrote a full album review breaking down the album track by track in a lot more detail for Lambgoat, so if you want to check that out, it will be in the description box below. But this has certainly fallen on the heavier, thrashier side of their sound, with a lot of elements of groove metal and melodic death metal. But what I really liked about this is how it goes incredibly hard for the first half of the album, and then it changes things up a little bit to incorporate more of that mellow death sound that they're known for. They have created an incredibly polished album that still retains that raw energy and power. Now, you do have the occasional use of keys and synths throughout the album, but it is very much a guitar-focused record. But not only is this an absolutely amazing album, it's a fantastic milestone to mark their 10th album in their discography. So if you are a fan of the likes of At the Gates, Early In Flames or Lamb of God, you're definitely going to want to get onto this. I was really excited when I heard that they were bringing out a new album. This is the first album they've released in 8 years, and that hiatus that they had has definitely benefited the band, and this album is fantastic. Definitely check this one out. Okay, so next up on my list is another big one from this week, and that's Rivers of Nihil with their 5th self-titled album. And this is melodic, progressive, technical death metal from the US. Now again, I wrote a full album review breaking this album down track by track in a lot more detail for Lambgoat again, which is also in the description box below. But can I just say that I am predicting to see this album pretty high up in a lot of end of year lists this year. This album is phenomenal. Now, in the press release and interviews that the band have carried out, they have said that this would be an amalgamation of their previous albums, The Work and Where Owls Know My Name, and it's so much more than that. I knew this album was going to be really good, but I was not prepared for just how good it is. This is a fantastic balance between that aggression, atmosphere, technical prowess, and a lot of really cool dense melodics. This album goes incredibly hard, but it's so ridiculously addictive and catchy to listen to as well. What I really liked about this album is how diverse it is. So you've got your harder tracks, which is very heavy on the technical aspect of the band's sound and the death metal and the aggression, but then you've also got all of these cool melodic elements, synthy moments, a couple of ambient moments, and of course you have the trademark jazzy saxophone throughout as well. Another thing that I really liked about this album is the fact that each track stands strongly on its own, but at the same time it flows incredibly well to create a very strong, captivating and beautiful album. So if you are a fan of the likes of Allegiant, Fallujah, with a little bit of Psychroptic thrown into the mix there, this one is definitely for you. But I can say right now that this will definitely be in my top 40 of 2025. I know it's a little bit early to be talking about those lists, but I cannot get enough of this album. Definitely check this one out. Okay, so next up on my list, I have Obsidian Tongue with Eclipsing Worlds of Scorn. And this is the 4th studio album from the atmospheric, progressive black metal band from the US. This album is a work of art. I absolutely adored this album. I also wrote a full album review for Moshville Times this time for this album, so definitely check that out below, where again I break down the album track by track in a lot more detail, and I give my thoughts on it in a lot more detail as well. But when I say that this is a work of art, it is a work of art. It incorporates all of that raw energy that you get with black metal. It's frosty, it's bleak, but it's also incredibly majestic and muscular. It's incredibly progressive. There's a lot of really cool time signatures and a lot of cool changes throughout the entire album. And it alternates between, like I said, that raw black energy, but with a lot of really cool ambient, soaring, atmospheric moments. This struck me right in the soul, and I cannot get enough of this album. There's a lot of really cool, well-placed synths and keyboards throughout the album, which really adds to the atmosphere created by the guitars and the drums, but it doesn't take away from the black metal element. So if you are a fan of the likes of Enslaved, Agaloch or Wolves in the Throne Room, you're definitely going to want to get onto this. I got huge Enslaved vibes when I was listening to this album. It's beautiful, it's raw, it's aggressive. Definitely check this one out. Okay, so next up on my list, I have no idea if I'm pronouncing this correctly or not, but I have Anzy-Kur. And this is the second studio album from the black death metal band from Portugal. Now, this is a Mesopotamian themed album, so a lot of the topics and subjects in the songs are about Sumerian gods, demons, mythology, and occultism. And when I say it's an incredibly dark and captivating record, I mean it. There's something very ritualistic and cult-like about this album, but when I say it's ridiculously catchy, I mean it. They provide a perfect balance between black metal and death metal. There's a lot of really cool riffs in this, lots of really cool solos. The blast beats are intense, chugging bass lines, but the melodics are incredibly dark, dense, and enticing. There's something about this album that really hooks you in when you're listening to it. It is primarily guttural growls and screams, but on occasion you do have clean, soaring, almost monastic style vocals, and you also have female vocalizations, which really adds to that atmosphere of ritualistic occultism. So if you are a fan of the likes of Behemoth, Sulphur Aeon, with a little bit of Rotten Christ thrown into the mix, this one is definitely for you. I highly suggest that you look into the subject matter. Mesopotamian and Sumerian myths and mythology, the demons, the history that we know of is really fascinating. Definitely check this one out. I absolutely loved this. It's incredibly addictive, melodically rich, but ridiculously heavy at the same time. Definitely check it out. Okay, so next up on my list, I have Furnace with Eternally Enthroned. And this is the sixth studio album from the Swedish melodic death metal band. Now, at the time of recording this video, this was not available on Spotify, so it won't be included in the Spotify playlist, but it is on Bandcamp, so I'll make sure that's linked in the description box below. But I loved this record. Now, it certainly falls on the heavier side of the melodic death metal subgenre, and it incorporates a lot of old school Swedish death metal. So you have a lot of really cool chugging groove stompy stomps, but you've also got the intricacies and the detail of the melodic death metal side of things, all rolled into one. It is ridiculously hard, but so unbelievably addictive and catchy. The melodics are rich, but the death metal side of things is demonic. What I really liked about this album the most is the vocal style that has been utilised throughout. So you do have your guttural growls and roars, which are incredibly demonic and bassy, but at the same time you've got these clean vocalisations that are calling out from the background, which are incredibly echoey, and that really adds to this ominous atmosphere. So if you are a fan of the likes of Disparaged, Paganizer, Edge of Sanity, with a little bit of Paradise Lost style death metal thrown into the mix, this one is definitely for you, but I loved this. It's full of groovy stompy stomp moments, highly addictive. Love that about this heavier side of the melodic death metal scene, with more of the Swedish old school death metal thrown into the mix. Definitely check it out. Okay, so last up on my list, but certainly by no means least, I have no idea how to pronounce this, so I'm just going to put it here. And this is the debut album from the atmospheric, epic black folk metal band from Finland. This album is stunning. It has all of your tremolo picking, your blast beats, your dense bass lines, and your venomous rasping screams and growls. And when I say venomous, I mean they are venomous. But what I really liked about it is the atmosphere. You have a lot of really heavy, harsh melodics, but you've also got flutes, and you also have a lot of really cool synthy moments, and the vocalizations in the background are very monastic and grand and full of opulence. This is a magical, sprawling album at just over an hour long. It's a complete soundscape that's going to take you on this fantastical journey. But at the same time, it's going to completely rip your face off. Densely atmospheric, incredibly hard and crushing with the black metal, with a lot of really cool, dense melodics. So if you're a fan of the likes of Black Braid, Bloody Valkyria, with a little bit of Belore in there, you're definitely going to want to get onto this. But I absolutely loved this album. I get lost when I listen to it, and it's a fantastic journey. Definitely check this one out. And that's it for this week's New Metal Monday. Once again, comment down below to let me know what you think of today's records. And if you have any of your own recommendations, please let me know and I will get them added to my list. Make sure to check out my album reviews that I've included in the description box below as well, because your clicks onto those album reviews really helps me out as a writer. Also, if you use Spotify, make sure to follow the Spotify playlist that I've got linked down below, which gets updated every single Monday once one of these videos goes live. Just a quick reminder that the Furnace album will not be on the Spotify playlist because at the time of recording, it was not available on Spotify. But I have also included all of the band's Bandcamp links down below, just so you guys can find the music that I'm talking about as easily as possible. If you want to follow me on social media, where I am a lot more active, feel free to do so. All of my handles are in the description box as well. Thank you all so much for your support. I appreciate you guys as always, and I will see you very soon in my next video.